Papa They are here for a single purpose. That purpose is to respond to the State of the Nation address that was delivered by Liberia's most corrupt president, Boakai. We want to welcome you, members of the press, to this very important gathering. Our participants in Liberia and diaspora, those that are following through the media landscape, members and officials of the Auxiliary Women's League, Youth League, that is led by its firebrand, dynamic chairman, the most powerful young man, Emmanuel Johnson. Our big brother from the U.S., Michael Gibbon, all of partner stalwarts that are here. We want to welcome all of you. There is not a forum for plenty talking. You are here to listen to only one speaker who has been charged with the responsibility to respond to Boakai's SONA. The SONA is a legislative address. It is a report to the legislature. So it is just fair enough that the chairman of the CDC legislative caucus respond to that legislative address that was delivered by Boakai. Without any delay, and by this time in the public solo conference hall, the hall of intelligentsia, I'm honored to invite on stage the man who will zoom in the chairman of the CDC legislative caucus to respond to Boakai's empty State of the Nation address. I'm honored to invite on stage the former public relations officer of the Youth League, a retired student general, and now vice chair for Operation and Political Education, Amin C. Wissel, who will introduce to this platform and recognize the presence of the party national chairman. I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to do that. So, when Ali mounts the podium, he will introduce to us the national chairman of our party, and thereafter zoom in the man who has been instructed to present CDC's response to Boakai's SONA. At this juncture, we ask the Medians to
Boakai. Comrades and distinguished political participants and revolutionary combatants, let me quickly use this medium. Let me use the wavelength and permit me to use this aqueduct to recognize distinguished personalities, particularly men and women who play a central role in shifting the dynamics and politics of the revolutionary Democratic Coalition for Democratic Change. No! And this fraternal ritual is that ingredients that serve as the impetus to CDC supremacy above reactionary solutions. That's why when the backward hostile social forces try to imitate the revolutionary resilience of our movement, we see it as a political caricature. So on the basis of that, Congress, I'm honored to recognize the man who presides for our movement here. As a matter of fact, he's the chairman of the joint and cross session, the tripartite session of the Democratic Coalition for Democracy. Comrade Commissar and Chief Convener Revolutionary Ideologue, Janga Augustus Poe. Round of applause for him. Also present in this assembly and this press conference is an erudite leader by the lands, the man who has been the battle throughout his existence, Comrade Ideologue, Secretary General Emeritus, Chairman Emeritus, and I concomitantly and contemporaneously the Senator of Mandiri and concomitantly Chairman of the Progressive CDC Legislative Caucus at the level of the 55th National Legislature, Comrade Commissar Nathan Ofalumaki. I must also recognize the presence of the diaspora, CDC diaspora, men who have raised their antenna very hard and continue to sharpen the contradiction and match the arrogance in the Unity Party governance. But before doing so, permit me to zoom and recognize an erudite cadre, the man who presides over the largest belt of resistance movement and agitation in the context of the CDC's politics. As a matter of fact, he is the chairman of the Revolutionary National Youth League of the Indomitable Coalition for Democratic Change. Comrades, Commissar, Revolutionary Young People, Emmanuel Mobile Johnson Alliance Academy. So fast forward quickly to the presentation of our the diaspora tentacle here, the man who burned the internet firebrand revolutionary Dialito, as well. Mark Gilman is here also. Give him a round of applause. Not forgetting Comrade Buddhist Benedict, an all-time intellectual par excellence, dealing with the contradictions on the social media and the radio. And they play a pivotal role in the politics of the CDC. Give him a round of applause as well. Followed by Big Robert and our sister Lilo, who bear the tutors and distinguished members of the press. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to now be attentive as we go into the actuality. I will unmask the unsubstantiated innuendo and political platitude distributed by an octogenarian who vomited misinformation and disinformation on the biggest disaster in the country. And like the next Shekivara will say, that whenever death may surprise us, let it be welcome, provided our battle cries are reached 1 years. And so we have come to give you our basic response, very, very, very detailed response. Catalog all of the excess baggages, the contradictions, the monumental lies, the monstrous deception in Bokai's false presentation to the public and to the international media. And that person that will do that for us, the single man who's been mandated by the fourth bench of the National Executive Committee of this great movement, the revolutionary movement of the Intermittent Mali Coalition for Democratic Change. Is the man who has served in different capacities in the party, ranging from the Secretary General to Chairman Emeritus, ranging from Chairman Emeritus to concomitant the Senator of Majuli County, and Chairman of the CDC Legislative Caucus, Comrade Adolor Nathaniel Fallow McGill. So, McGill is the chief convener,
Excellency, Ambassador George, Manuel William, leader of the greatest grassroots movement in the Republic of Liberia, the Mighty Conference of Democratic Change.
So,
Our dynamic potent chairman, Boakai, Augusta Cole, the Mighty Conference of Democratic Change.
so,
Honorable J. Fanatik Kofa, Speaker of the Liberia National Legislature. Now, members of the legislature here present, our international development partners present, members of the national opposition community here present, our most powerful national UDP chair, Revolutionary Comrade Emmanuel Johnson, members of the Folk Estate, fellow Liberians. Today, the Coalition for Democratic Change, the CDC, for the first time in its history, political parties, is delivering a speech in response to the State of the Nation address delivered by the President and the Liberian President. Yesterday, President Joseph M. Boakai delivered his second State of the Nation address. This is our official response. Choose to speak directly this time to the Liberian people because of the grave instability and uncertainty that now hangs over our democracy and peace. Our nation is in crisis. The state of our nation is weak. Our nation is divided and polarized. This is evident. This was evident yesterday when our 8 senators and more than 25 representatives and the entire bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia boycotted President Boakai's State of the Nation address. This is deeply troubling. Liberia is in decline. The democratic and economic gain we made in the last 6 years are being eroded. We now see the Unity Party trapped in the very lines that they told the Liberian people to get elected. There are too much confusion and disunity in the land. All of these require a spoken response that expresses the raw emotions and feelings of our people during these troubling times. Fellow Liberians, our distinguished international development partners, in November of 2023, President George Manuel Weah conceded political power to President Boakai, then President-elect. This concession was made several days before the National Election Commission completed the announcement of the election results. In conceding to President Boakai, President Weah demonstrated an act of supreme patriotism. He broke ranks with Liberia bitter past of contested elections, which was often marred by violence and Supreme Court challenges. He signaled a new dawn of a new day in Liberia peace and democracy. Where before others believed that our democracy was weak and fragile, President Weah showed that Liberia too was capable of democratic electoral strength that we see in a vying democracies such as the United States, Britain, Germany, and other parts of the world. President Weah handed President Boakai a peaceful country and democracy, a Liberia in which the rule of law was respected, in which no president, no legislator, or justice was above the law. 1 year after this most peaceful democratic transfer of political power, Liberia now lies in a democracy and rule of law mess. The Unity Party administration of Joseph Boakai is now teaching the Liberian people that the rule of law has no meaning or no value. That the law is whatever the president and his legislative friends say the law is. that only ordinary Liberians are supposed to respect and uphold the law, while the Unity Party reach out disregard and disrespect and violates our laws. Fellow citizens, because the rule of law is so important to the working of any society, to have citizen rights to justice, health care, or education are nourished and protected, and to have foreigners and investors perceive the role of the law plays in the protection of their investment, the Unity Party's destruction of the rule of law has now affected every aspect of Liberia's social and political life since President George Mani Umia left office. Today, our citizens are confused as to where the country is headed under President Boakai. Today, citizens are beaten, wounded, if they dare get into the streets to exercise their constitutional rights to free speech and assembly. Today, whatever the Supreme Court says is no longer the law. Today, opposition personalities and former government officials are being witch-hunted and unjustly imprisoned. Today, the country has both a constitutionally elected speaker and a quote-unquote majority black speaker who was illegally selected despite the violation of the law. The executive has imposed this illegally selected speaker upon the government and people of Liberia, while at the same time seeking the resignation of the duly elected speaker, while the mockery of our democracy is the rule of law. Was this conflict necessary? Did we have to push this crisis to this extent? We say no. It has been 4 months since this conflict erupted, and there has been a total breakdown of the rule of law. Instead of focusing on placing volunteer teachers and health workers on the government payroll, instead of working to increase budgetary allocation to key sectors of our economy, instead of working to bring down the high price affecting our people, the Unity Party has invested its efforts in prolonging a legislative crisis that is destroying our country. How did Liberia get into this weak political mess? Of course, we got there because the Unity Party packaged a massive bundles of lies and sold those lies to the Liberian people. The lie that harmonization was bad. Upon taking office, they would have reversed it immediately. That the CDC was the importer of drugs in the country. That they would have solved the drugs problem in 6 months. They said no car was going to get stuck in the mud in 100 days of the Boakai administration. They promised Liberians would never to use private jet for presidential travel. They promised to bring down the prices of basic commodity in 1 year. Of course. They said they were going to bring down the US dollar to Liberian dollar exchange rate to its lowest. As if this was not enough during the campaign, President Boakai repeated many of these promises in the first state of the national press. 1 year after falsely raising the hopes of the Liberian people, the reality has now set in for the Unity Party. The very harmonization policy they demonized, they now accept as impossible to reverse. Said they know it is not possible to go back to the UP era of basic salary allowance, and general allowance system. The coach they were supposed to stop have now grown into zombies and satellite jobs with no hope for rehabilitation of our children who are affected by this national calamity. In the first 150 days, we saw cars being stuck in the mud more than ever before in the history of our country. To the extent that even buses caught fire in the mud. Imagine what's getting fire in the mud. Today, President Boakai is not just using private jet for international travel. He is even using it for domestic travels. Well, if the latest private jet has improved the West expensive type. Fellow Liberians, today the price of basic commodity has not just increased, but the UP government has admitted that an illegally passed budget, that the exchange rate may reach as high as 219 Liberian dollars to $1 US. The economic reality we present above shows that the country is very, very hard. It's not easy. You gotta tell your ways. The rescue mission has now become excuse mission. The Liberians should prepare for the worst economic situation in 2005. You gotta get prepared. You gotta tell your ways. 2025. 2025. Fellow Liberians, as you all know, President Boakai's speech yesterday was packed with misinformation in so many areas. As expected, we will correct the misinformation today and pose some tough questions. First, but they spent $661.4 million. This means we have $72.6 million in surplus that the government should declare in the 2025 budget, and the CDC administration used to do. But we know that the 2025 budget has no surplus or balance draw power. So, two things are possible. Either the $72.6 million was blown off in a massive act of corruption, or everything the president said about the 2024 revenue was false and misleading. We leave the UP to choose which one. Accounting for money through GSC audit, or admitting that the lives of the Liberian people. We'll wait for the response. Second, the president said that he decreed price arrest. This one, even the Liberian people will be the judge. It was Liberians who were paying Liberian $3,100 for 25 kg bed arrest when the UP took over in January 2024, and who are now paying $3,500 as we speak. There is no way to lie about the price arrest because every Liberian knows you find it every day, so you know. The president said, Mr. President, harmonization is still a prevailing policy in Liberia. If you say, quote, people were facing extreme hardship because of harmonization, unquote, then you are admitting, Mr. President, that people are still facing extreme hardship under your presidency, since harmonization has not been reversed by your administration. Folks, the information that 6,000 ghosts were removed from the payroll is misleading. The United Party has provided misinformation to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, on this. The maximum number of ghost workers on existing government payroll cannot be more than 1,000. So the maximum that can be saved due to ghost removal is about $1.8 million. In fact, instead of removing 6,000 workers, the UP has hired more than 6,000 of their partisans, increasing the government payroll to about $10 million extra. For this reason, the UP administration has been hesitant to release the actual expenditure information before the SONA. The UP is afraid that it promised to the IMF to bring salary to $270 million by the end of 2024 will soon be proven to be a lie. Compensation will end at $310 million or more, which will cause a big problem for the government on the IMF program. The government said it added $15 million to increase salaries. But how can you add $15 million to $310 million and still produce $315 million? You can do the math. There is two more confusion. Talking of the number happening within the government. Fifth, The international climate financing. We heard yesterday in the president's speech that the government, we heard yesterday in the speech of the president, which was secured by the CDC administration, that the UP should be given credit for this. The Western project for the Montreal Metropolitan Climate Resilience Project is 25 million financing project by Green Climate Fund. All of this was secured by the CDC administration. Let the UP not take credit for projects they did not initiate. Mr. President, the people misled you. Fellow Liberians, having corrected some of the key misinformation in yesterday's SONA, we move to compare and contrast the CDC first year achievement versus those of the United Party President. President Boakai was very little about the UP achievement. President Boakai said very little about the UP achievement on its 100-day program, or in its first year. In 2018, CDC inherited a broken economy with declining international aid, underperforming domestic revenue, 2 payroll systems that widen inequality among government workers. Despite these challenges, the CDC administration stood on this weak foundation to achieve the following in its first year. It handed the UP a solid foundation by the end of 2023. One, we constructed more than 75 kilometers of community roads. We placed more than 2,300 health workers on the payroll in our first year. We increased the salary of medical doctors from $700 to $2,000 in our first year. We kept the price of 25 kg bag of rent at $13 in our first year. We sent more than 20 medical doctors for specialized training abroad. We declared free tuition for college students at public universities and free Wi-Fi for high school students. We broke ground for the 14 military hospitals, which were completed the following year. We launched a proper agenda for transformation in 9 months. We digitized the registration at the University of Liberia. We then set out to produce a strong economic foundation for the Unity Party to inherit. We want to commend President Boakai for acknowledging in his speech yesterday that his government is building on the foundation laid by the proper agenda for prosperity and development PAP. President Boakai referenced in his speech yesterday. Yes, we increased domestic revenue to $640 million, surpassing the Unity Party higher domestic revenue of $460 during its 12-year period. We stabilized the exchange rate and inflation, and handled the UP an inflation of 10%. Though the UP handled CDC an inflation of 12% in 2018. We harmonized a broken salary, basic salary, and general allowance basis. The system ensuring fairness and producing a wage growth by $32 million. We handled a UP net international reserve of $240 million, compared to the UP handling CDC $150 million in 2018. We maintain the price of kg 25 becquerel at $13 for more than 4 years. It had to take global crises like the COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukrainian war to move prices higher. We had a Nubian economic growth rate of more than 4.5%, but had to stand on a growth rate of 2.5% in 2018 in the new life. We had a UP a declining poverty profile, according to the World Bank 2024 Economic Report. According to that same report, for the year 2017, The CDC inherited an increase in poverty profile in 2018. While we're bringing it down, you're carrying it on. We handled the Unity Party, they completed road work from contact to Sacredly. It made a contract from Tapetan to Town, from Town to Dredge, all financing and secure. We also handled the UP Fishtown to Dredge corridor contract, all financing framework. For our urban beautification infrastructure improvement, we handled the Unity Party and SKD Boulevard, instruct complex overpass contract and framework. We also handled the UP the RIA corridor. We handled the Unity Party Central Monrovia water supply system and revenue generation infrastructure. We handled the UP a 10-year broadband financing for electricity transformation. The city passed the MCC scorecard 3 times, paving the way for the drug compact eligibility. In contrast, the Unity Party handled the CDC a weak MCC eligibility database in 2018, which led to Liberia failing the scorecard. In contrast, the Unity Party inherited a stable and growing economy, but has squandered this opportunity. Of course, my friend now understand that squandering opportunity is a specialized skill of the elected. During the 1 year UP administration, we have seen no project implementation in the first year, which was why the president did not mention his yesterday. President Boakai said he is running a government of inclusion. How can you run an inclusive government while targeting people you believe are affiliated with the CDC?
Reactionary tendency.
Abbas.
Reactionary tendency.
Abbas.
Lying.
Abbas.
Lying.
Abbas.
Lying.
Abbas.
Which one?
Abbas.
Which one?
Abbas.
Misinformation provided to the IMF that the government wage bill for 2024 will end at $270 billion. When it is ending more than $310 million US. Scandal in scholarship, an investment program, undermining public trust, illegal budget manipulation, procurement violation, multiple instances of corruption involving tens of millions.
Adonai, the Congress power. Adonai, the Congress power. You gotta watch your whole front line. As the Congress here to represent us. Pretty po.
In resource allocation. While senior government officials enjoy exorbitant allowances and benefits, the Liberian healthcare and recorded education system remain critically underfunded. When the data finally comes in, we see that the budget execution for 2024 has been a disaster. Critical entities in the front line of service delivery, especially in the health and educational sector, receiving as low as 50% of their budgetary allocation. The nation's 23 public referral hospitals, which serve more than 4.2 million citizens in central large supply and critical services, have unpaid health workers. This stark disparity in resource distribution reflects a government disconnected from the reality of history. For the Unity Party, the budget execution is the personal benefit allowance, is the personal benefit and allowances. And for personal benefit allowances, the UP uses the budget to ensure government officials receive large amount of gas from scratch cards and other benefits. Under the CDC, these benefits were thought to make room for spending that impacted the masses of the Liberians who did not work for government. The year 2020 2024 saw a new foreign direct investment, saw no new foreign direct investment, and no U.S. effort to resolve the business climate challenges that can both local and foreign investment. Instead, we saw investment by showmanship, publicly packaging misinformation, deceiving Liberians into believing that the government is bringing investment into the country. The real challenge Liberia faces is to continue to work to change our business investment economy. Investment requires serious work that inspires confidence. Investment does not flourish in an environment where the rule of law is being violated, where the opinion of the Supreme Court is discarded on the whims of politicians. Investment is not a showmanship. They attempt to impress Liberia that the president has external relations and is about to bring investment because of his personality. We are seeing a parade of deceptive announcements that was supposed to impress Liberians that the United Party was about to solve the country's investment challenges. These were all deception.
Reactionary tendency. Reactionary tendency. CMD regime. CMD regime.
First, the APS investment deal. Earlier in the year, on February 20th, the government announced an official partnership with APS and Guma Africa, promising an investment of $3 to $5 billion to develop the Liberty corridor. This investment is still hanging, and we are yet to see this materialize. Then came the yellow machine for Boakai. Back in July, Maria witnessed spectacle on his own. On July 15th, a convoy paraded promising 285 F-moving machines, trucks, dump trucks, herald as the first time you could prove of the administration of the Reverend Jacob. The crowd. At the Conference Society, the two emerged. There was no signed contract. There was no formal agreement. No financial commitment. When pressed, the president only offered a vague explanation, attributing the initiative to a casual conversation with an unnamed friend. The parade was a barrage. It's not designed to mislead. There was a serious violation of procurement law and the people's trust, right over corruption. The machine was valued at $80 million. But we now know the real value is around $100 million. The president was misled. The remaining $20 million, the remaining $60 million, the president was misled. The remaining was for kickback for certain government officials. On July 24th, 2024, the Boakai administration put yet another show, claiming to have found a solution to Liberia's transportation crisis. They proudly paraded two buses. They were at the sample for Brazil manufacturer Marco Polo, who promises that 300 more will follow in just 40 days. This whole bus saga was of the lie. Then the Chinese charade followed. In September, there was another round of grand confirmation. Upon returning from the China-Africa Corporation, the United Party government now is $3 billion memorandum for an oil refinery in Grand Pass of Once again, the truth fell far short of the rhetoric. The grand value at 200 RMB, 200 million RMB, were roughly 28 million in US dollars. The debt waiver was a mere 900,000. Even the full assistance package initially celebrated at 30 million, was less than 5 million. Instead of celebrating modest gains, the administration inflicted people to crack a narrative of track. Lastly, come the MCC compass. On December 19, 2024, Liberia walked to what seemed to be an extraordinary announcement. Social media boards with celebratory posts. The government claimed to have secured 500 million grant on the Millennium Challenge Corporation. For a country grappling with economic challenges, this was presented as a watershed movement, a sign of Liberia's bright future on President Boakai. By the afternoon, the jubilation turned into confusion. The MCC released a statement calming and dismantling the government claim. There was no grant, no 500 million. The MCC compact funding. Now you legislated on that guarantee a compact as the government propagated. What Liberia have waited was yet another act in the administration theater of deception. Despite an attempt to distract from low-cost governance to strengthening credibility. This was no isolated incident. Within the last 5 years of government, the UK administration has repeatedly used misinformation as a political tool, leaving a trail of empty promises and unfulfilled dreams. They use this lying and deception playbook to win election. They aim to use it to govern the Liberian people, but they are not trapped into their own lives. Fellow citizens, the CDC welcomed the fight against corruption, but such fight cannot be on a selective basis. The United Party government has shown no serious commitment to fighting corruption. Its current fight pertains to witch-hunting former government officials of the CDC administration, and aiming to use the weight and influence of the government against them when there is no basis. Currently, there are several cases of corruption involving the National Port Authority, the Liberian Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Public Works, the Electrical RC, the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Central Bank, the Liberian Telecommunication Authority, the Ministry of Agriculture, and so many others, involving tens of millions of US dollars. On the address by the United Party. We praise and thank the UP government for appointing the ombudsman to oversee the compliance with the code of conduct. But we see serious conflict and contradiction here. The same government appointing the ombudsman, the same government fighting the ombudsman. What the message is the United Party on the code of conduct. You either agree to scrap the code of conduct or you strengthen its enforcement. You cannot support both legally and undermine the code of conduct at the same time. This is why we say your fight against corruption is insincere and policy and unsound. The government assets recovery program is another example of an serious and politically motivated path to fight against corruption. Upon taking office, the government, without regard to the rule of law, went about seeking to retrieve legally acquired legitimate assets from former government officials. These were all part of the culture of parade, showmanship, that the United Party is well noted for. Today, the United Party asset recovery has failed, as was expected. And the team itself has now been battling allegations of corruption in the use of resources assigned to it. While undermining the rule of law, the UP aims to use misinformation propaganda to mislead the Liberian people. And this is dangerous for our democracy. We publicly warn the UP government to be fixed on this party. Misinformation is harmful. It corrodes public trust, undermines governance, distracts from the real problem. The UP administration pattern of deception poses significant danger, eroding public trust, so they can rely on the government for honesty. Democratic participation is weakened. Damaging credibility, false claim that those surrounding the MCC and Chinese jeopardizing the national partnership, widening inequality, policy favoring the elites and deepening social and economic disparity. Fellow Liberians, governance is not about announcement or careful stage parade. It's about delivering real results for the people. The UK administration must abandon the theatrics and embrace accountability. Truth is not just a virtue. It is the foundation of democracy. For Liberia to move forward, leaders must recognize the urgent need for transparency. The people deserve a government that works for them, not the one that hides behind parades and propaganda. The question remains, will this administration rise to the occasion, or will it continue down the path of deception? The only thing this government seems to have perfected is the art of pictorial diplomacy, a masterclass in deception. The relentless focus on public relations at the expense of society too, often taken in by their illusion. Their frustration lies not only in our criticism, but in our commitment to arming Liberians with the most potent weapon, the truth. Through honesty, transparency, and access to information, we are empowering our fellow citizens to see through the smoke and mirror. Democracy and governance must never be built on a shaky foundation of lies. Rest assured, we'll wield every tool at our disposal to peel back the layer of deception and shine a light on falsehood. On the Unity Party administration, we do not see any progress in the national health and education. Agricultural challenges. Health workers have threatened to strike because basic salary structure agreed with the CDC administration have been denied by the UK administration. Volunteer workers and teachers have now been added to the government bill. The later appropriated $2.4 million to resolve some of those issues. But the UK government has used the opportunity for something else, leaving workers still working on the voluntary basis. The CDC administration has done a lot for teachers and health workers. It is time for Unity Party to address their issue as well and start making empty campaign promises. $15 million that is supposed to increase salary is questionable since the compensation numbers are not adding up. Mr. President, we must remind you that agriculture is your specialized expertise, and we expect you to deliver in this area. We are seeing no movement in the agriculture space. The government is yet to show any serious leadership in the country infrastructure sector. The agro infrastructure sector will remain under the influence of the PAPD, where no PAPD here, the CDC program, for years to come, because we have laid a solid foundation. Most financing for roads and electricity projects were secured by the CDC administration. We expect the UK administration to break new ground for roads and electricity financing, not electricity financing. Fellow Liberians, although we agree that the rescue mission have failed in addressing the economic well-being of Liberia, the biggest failure has been in the area of reconciliation and national unity. This biggest failure was shown by the absence of honorable representatives, senators, and the Supreme Court justices at yesterday's national event. We usually bring all Liberians together. It is all because of the current crisis at the legislature. The division is hurting our country, but the president is yet to recognize this national council that is eating the social fabric of our country. Though the country is hard, the rescue mission has lost its direction. Unity Party can be a therapy. Unity can be a therapy for national unity, to keep all of us together, to fight our national challenges. With a reconciled country, we can fight poverty. We can collectively fight the drug crisis. We can collectively strengthen the rule of law and save our country. Fellow Liberians, Liberia is not for CDC. It's not for Unity Party. It's not for Liberty Party. It's not for ANC or any political party. Liberia is for all Liberians, irrespective of your tribe, your religion, or region. Liberia is for irrespective of your tribe, religion. It started, we expect that our president will take charge and bring all of us together. Bringing us together does not mean we will support the same cause or the same party or the same issue. It means we will uphold together strong moral principles and values surrounding the rule of law and national integrity and move our country forward. President Boakai, take charge. Liberia is leading. To this effect, we call on the president to call for a national dialogue on reconciliation and unity. We're asking the president to reach out to former national leaders, all political party leaders, political leaders, and international community to ensure inclusiveness in the national healing process. In closing, we stand resolute in our session that 2024 will be remembered as a year of SONA opportunity. Honorable President Joseph Boakai leadership. This year has been marred by a staggering betrayal of the principle of democracy and justice, leaving our nation in a state of disarray. A flagrant violation of the rule of law is not just an oversight. It is a deliberate assault on the very fabric of our democracy. The attempt to illegally remove the duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives is a chilling example of how far this administration is willing to go to consolidate power, disregarding the voices of the people in the process. The UP fuel investment promises in the year once have transformed into a national disgrace, exposing the administration of utter disregard for accountability and transparency. Instead of serving the interests of the Liberian people, this government has prioritized personal ambition and political gain, while corruption runs rampant. The political gain all leaving countless Liberians grappling with poverty and despair. This is not merely a failure of government, it is a betrayal of the hope and aspiration of our citizens. The Boakai administration has proven time and again that it is incapable of improving the lives of the people, of the very people that are elected to serve. We refuse to accept a future defined by unfulfilled promises, systemic negligence. This administration must be held accountable for its action and inaction. It is time for President Boakai and the UP government to listen to the cries of the people, to demand for justice, and to the urgent need for change. We demand immediate action to ratify these egregious wrongs. Time for hard measures and empty rhetoric is over. We call for a comprehensive plan to restore the rule of law and reinstate the democratic principles and to eradicate corruption at all levels of government. The current trajectory is unsustainable. This administration must be both straightforward and decisive towards a path that prioritizes the welfare of all Liberians. As the leading opposition, people set up political movement. The CDC stand united with all opposition parties in our resolve to demand accountability, justice, and genuine progress. We will not be silent or sidelined. Together we will mobilize and rise against the apathy and misrule that have characterized this administration. The opportunities squandered in 2024 cannot be reclaimed. The time for change is now. Let this be a rallying cry. All The time for change is now. Let it be a rallying cry for all Liberians who believe in a bright future, more equitable future. We will not rest until our voices are heard. Our right to restore our nation is on a path towards prosperity. Together, we will continue to fight for the survival of our country. Together, we will continue to fight for the survival of our country. A country that is built on justice, integrity, and wherein believe that every citizen deserves a chance to strive. May the Almighty God build in each of us the strength to unite our common patrimony and save and protect our democracy.